Hi, everyone. Johan and I want to show you PoliLoom, which is a verification first AI experiment that we've been working on for a while. Johan really taking the lead on making this thing. I'm the lead for community and customer success over at Open Sanctions. If you guys have been around for, I think, about an hour, you might have seen Friedrich, my boss, over at Open Sanctions, talking a bit. Yeah, so we want to kind of go over what PoliLoom is, why we think it's important, how it works, some cool things we might show about the live demo of kind of what we're doing. Yeah, so let's see. So we're representing Open Sanctions, sorry. Johan has considered me the mastermind here. I think that is very, very generous of a title since he has put in so much work on this. But this is something that he has been working on, and we have been collaborating together to show you guys. We think it might be something that can really help not just us at Open Sanctions with the data that we're pulling in, but also the Wikidata community. Yeah, so the reason that we started this is that we, at Open Sanctions, we have data on sanctions, risk, relevant people, politically exposed persons, watch lists, and we find that there's a lot of kind of missing bits of information that, although Wikidata might have those entities there are certain candidate statements about politicians that are in Wikipedia that should come over to Wikidata, but it's kind of a process that takes a bit of time. So instead of having it be something where you see that there is something missing and you bring it over, you edit, you push it to it, what we want to do is make edits that are verified by AI pulling it to us and having an actual person then confirming if the information is correct. So the data that we see is there, but it's just a matter of pulling it into the right place for Wikidata to be updated correctly. Yeah, let's see. We've changed a bit of this slideshow just a few minutes ago as well. So right now, I know the main thing that we're looking at is pulling things from Wikipedia, but we're looking at maybe other places that we could grab this data and pull it in as well. I think maybe we should show you some of this. We want to do a live demo to show you kind of how this works in its entirety. But before we go on a bit more about it, I think it might be good if we show you how it looks, what it works. It might be easier and more exciting than just hearing my voice and looking at a slideshow.
All right.
Jan, do you want to pull that up?
I'll take it over and let be real. Well, here we go. It's white. So this is the tool. This is PoliLoom, and it's all built around the login system of MediaWiki. So you can log in with your existing wiki account, and there we go. We got some data, and this is basically we get proposed a politician. I hope that everybody can read this. I can zoom in a bit, maybe. We get proposed a politician with the current in Wikidata, the properties that are there, and new information that we extracted, in this case, from the Dutch Wikipedia. And here the statement, the origin of the statement is highlighted in the archived webpage. So this webpage has been archived. And we can kind of see that we found in June 2024. So the AI proposes here that, hey, this existing like link that is there, we found that it's June, and in Wikidata there is like only the year. So do you want to like update this? We can say like, yes, we want to update that, and we can then say also like, hey, we want to deprecate an existing statement here. And then this tool will warn us like, hey, you're deprecating an existing statement. So do you want to do that? Is basically the question. Well, I'm not going to submit anything now, although I can submit this actually. And when we submit, we get a new politician with new information that we extracted. So here we can see that we found that from 2019 she was a counselor in Deurne, and this in Wiki, and from 2024 also in Antwerp. So we get like these little statements, and in this case we found political positions twice, but we extract citizenships, birthplaces, birth and death dates, And we don't have to confirm or discard here. We can just skip and get new people. So here we can see this highlighting going on. Whenever I hover one of these extracted statements, I get instantly shown in the right panel, the archive page. I get to see the source statement that this data is from. So that's basically the short little explanation. Let's go back to the slides.
Sure.
So our solution, well, that was it. Yeah, it's a simple infrastructure, and that proposes edits. And we have a couple principles there, and those principles are like, it's great to use AI, but we're not going to push any generated information into Wikidata. We want to be able to take the grunt work, take the boring stuff, automate that, propose edits, and then have the human decide. We want to be able to cite this stuff to say, like, here, this is where it comes from, for two reasons. One is to kind of force people to actually verify, to make it very easy for them to verify, and to make sure that the origin data is there. And we want to have this whole pipeline to be transparent and public. We want to have all artifacts to be public. Brenna, I'll pass it back to you.
Sure. What do I want to say on this? Yeah, so we, as you saw, like having the proposed side by side, I think I come from the open data community with OpenStreetMap and Mapillary, if any of you are familiar with that. And this is something that I was really excited for open sanctions to start looking at, especially with the open data, the Wikidata that had areas of improvement that Johan has just solved, which is amazing. This ability for you to have this put right in front of you and use it almost like a gamification system is, I don't know, to me, it kind of just tickles all the right places. Yeah, it really is something that it's one of those things that you can really put very little effort into and get a lot out of. I'm not really sure how else to word it, but yeah, I think maybe next slide as well. Yeah, so I can talk a bit more about like why this was important to us in the beginning, why we wanted to start this. And that's basically that we really wanted to find clearer roles and terms and dates with fewer mistaken links. We want to make sure that this is something that can grow, and we can look at doing more than just, I mean, we're working on politicians now because it's important for us for our data. But this has the ability for us to open this up for other facets of Wikidata that might have some areas of improvement that we can pull. So, yes. Sure, so much on these slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that I really want to make sure that everyone can get excited about, because even though this is something that we started off for our own use, I think this has the ability to really, really simplify a lot of processes that are to pull the right kind of data in for what you're looking for. What are you doing, Johan?
I'm sure. Right.
Yes.
So yeah, we want to focus on places where coverage now is thin, and we'll come back to that in the technical section also. So what does good data look like to us? Sorry for taking over, Brenna.
Oh, go ahead.
Like it's we want to know who is politician, where, when, and we want to have sources for that. So we want to have a faster time when there's elections or things get reshuffled. We want to be able to very quickly reflect that in the common data. And this will hopefully lead to fewer ambiguous matches in our use or your use. There's some safeguards, like we show always the archived sources. Anything is in our database, and we can share it, and it's all traceable. So basically, Open Sanctions wants to contribute back is the gist of it. So how does this work? And we've been talking about embeddings before. Well, they are a part of it, obviously. The architecture is basically a little API that takes in data, all this data, and this little GUI that we just showed. This API takes the Wikidata dumps, the entity dumps, and it takes the Wikipedia pages and government portals and passes all this around to extract statements with language models. So this GUI I just showed you, I tried for it to be as user-friendly as possible. You log in with the MediaWiki system. That's for two reasons. A, you don't have to create an account with us. We don't have any of your data. We just have an ID for the Wikidata system. And B, you insert, when I submit these things in the little GUI, I insert those under my own account into Wikidata. So we use your login to kind of push data on your behalf, or you're basically pushing data on your behalf. And we want to highlight as much as we can. We want to make this evaluation as simple as possible. So extracting statements, how do we do that? Well, we do two things actually. Like when I showed you the demo, you could see that we had these little positions on the left that is existing positions in Wikidata. So first we extract some information from these pages, from these arbitrary web pages, and then we kind of reconcile this with existing data points. So first step is we extract strings, just text from documents. Two is that we search for these matching like entities, like, hey, the Brussels mayor, is that the same as the mayor of Brussels? Stuff like that. And three is like we have a language model reconcile this stuff. So you should think in the searching part is like where we use, for positions, we use embedding search or vector search, depending on how you want to semantic search, depending on how you want to call it. Just like in the presentation before, we use the same principle. For things that are names like birthplaces, countries, people, we use trigram-based search, so more like text fuzzy matching is what people call it. We take the topmost so many results and we pass that to an LLM and we say, please, LLM, please give us the right result. That is basically what happens there. So here's a short example. We say like we extract a string together with like this little proof line, this little quote, and that can be the member of the Saarbrücken City Council. And we search for matches, and this semantic search, the beauty of semantic search is that it doesn't really care about letters, it cares more about semantic concepts. So you'll get back, depending on the model you use, you can get back like a very different language, exactly the thing you were talking about. So the Mitglied der Regionalversammlung Saarbrücken is what we were just talking about, is the member of the Saarbrücken City Council, if the model is correct, which in this case, I hope so. So we have this reconciliation step. After that, we get all these matching entities. I take the top 100 in this case, I believe, or the top 70, I'm not completely sure. And I say like, hey, this is like the source string we got, including like a part of the document where this was found, this statement. And here you have these matching entities that we found. And like I take from the Wikidata dump, I take like all sort of like things that I find positions in this case that are interesting, which is basically every position with a couple branches blocked off, which is in a different talk. But we take like all the sort of part of relationships, instance of relationships, subclass of relationships, and the descriptions and stuff like that to create a little description for every entity. And basically we ask the LLM like, hey, we have this source text, these entities with these descriptions, which of these might be the thing we're interested in? And if none, just return none. And for this, we use a lot of the structured data API. So the model is constrained to only giving us back the data we want, and is therefore only doing a sort of a confidence interval over these sort of constrained set of tokens. But that might go a bit too deep. So anyway, great like statements, we extract them, but from where do we extract these statements, you know? Where do they come from? Well, right now I started with the Wikidata links because mostly it's simple to do. There's a lot of Wikipedia links linked to politicians in Wikidata already. So it's data that I can take in and kind of like use So yes, great. But we're adding support for government portals. We have a humongous list shared to us by friendly people of all the government portals. I think GovDirectory guy, sorry, I forgot your name, but thank you so much also for the work you do. It's great. Stuff like this is sources that we use to generate like these lists. And we're generating web scrapers for this, or at least that's the plan. I'm not going to make a scraper for every source, so we have like a way of generating web scrapers and being able to rescrape pages on that behalf, on that way. So what am I figuring out of what we are figuring out? Basically, what we're talking about, what is it we're doing now? Is basically filtering and sorting. Like yeah, we have all this data. I think there's 600,000 people in the database right now, and who do you look at first? Like, who do you want to look at first as an editor or as a evaluator? Who should we show? Do you want to see the newest people, or do you want to see the people that have the least known information currently? That's a big question. Like, how do we prioritize? And the next question is kind of like very similar. Like, how do we take these, like this humongous list of people, and how do we make them into like little bite-sized chunks that you can kind of like sit down and be like, okay, now I'm gonna do like Uganda, and I'm gonna do the lower government in, I don't know. So we're thinking about grouping this stuff into tiers of government, making it possible to have these little campaigns that you can do for a bit. So yeah, Brenna, I want to pass it back to you. Like, why does all of this matter? Brenna, why?
It's a very good question. Yeah, so we recognize that there is a need that with this, hopefully we can meet a bit. There's filling in these gaps can make it a little easier for people that are doing research or journalism to access things that instead of having to look at different sources, we can get everything kind of consolidated in one place. Yes. Yeah, actually, can you talk on that one a bit more? I think you could probably explain it better than I can.
Complete picture of this one, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can. The data in Wikidata right now is quite spotty. Like for some countries there's a lot, for other countries there's very little. So I think like if we want to have like a nice complete picture and not have like, for example, English speaking countries overrepresented and stuff like that, it's like we'll have to kind of like make it easy for people to get the data in, and also have that be something that we kind of like offer them, instead of people having to go out and searching for it themselves. So that's also where we have this, like, your role, what can you do? Like we make it possible to filter by language and country, so you can evaluate things for your own country and jurisdiction. And all the data that we get in, all these like little these discards and approve buttons, every little button press, we can use to improve the models that we use for this extraction. So yeah, that's great. And also you can help us, tell us what to prioritize next, because this tool is in very active development. We've been working on this hard. This principle that we're using here is well, quite generalizable. So like yeah, like, and also we are thinking a lot about gamification here, because this can be really a thing that you do on the toilet, do a couple of them, like do a couple of them and get some like society points or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's something that
that's something that I would really love if anyone here has an interest in that as well. Something that I'd love to see on this to kind of just enhance contributions and get people a little bit more interested in it is if any of you have experience with gamifying things. That's something that I really love to do at the last places that I've worked, and I'd love to try to have PoliLoom be that. Like, if we have rankings or scores or leaderboards or points, or maybe people that are higher up on giving us good data consistently, they can, I don't know, like be part of the process of approving certain contributions from new users. Like, there's so many things that we could do with this. And like, I don't want to start planning all of these grand things that maybe are too big for this project. But if there's any feedback that anyone has on how they might see this being interesting for themselves or their own communities or groups, would be really fantastic.
We've been thinking about loot boxes also.
Yeah.
I'm joking, of course. Yeah, so that's basically that's basically where we're at, and I would love to open up the discussion right now. If anybody has any sort of questions or any sort of like something to add here, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Could you also open it up and show the different way that you can select different languages and areas? I think that would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Like right now it's under these preferences here, and you can kind of say like this also comes all from Wikidata. So all the languages, all the countries, all the links between these things and the politicians, like this whole tool only knows Wikidata. I'm thinking of moving this away from preferences and having the main page be more of a like, hey, what kind of like a mood are you in? Are you more into like German Bundestag mood, or are you more into like a very small local government in Pakistan mood or whatever? I don't know. But for now it's on the preferences here, but it will move in the future. Low resource language demo. Low resource demo. How difficult would it be to set this up for ministries? Extracting statements like when it was founded or dissolved. What is the title of the person leading it and who is holding that position? Well, that all depends on what is a ministry. Like one of the big problems here in this like in defining what a politician is, or defining what a political position is, because not every position in Wikidata is a political position per se. It's also like religious positions are in there. There's like titles in there that people got because they are like royal, stuff like that. Another thing is, what are birthplaces? You might think it's very simple, but there is like a geographical entity which is at the base of everything. Like, what can be a birthplace is then the question you should ask, and that is a hard question to answer. If you want to see, I have like a GitHub issue with like how many politicians were born in every like subclass of geographical entity. There's a GitHub issue for that in the repo. There you can see that there's a lot of subclasses of geographical entity where people are born, like abstract entity, for example. There is somebody born there. So what is a ministry? That is the hard question. I hope I answer your question with that. Like other than that, the technical challenge is kind of solved with this tool. So if you have data where you know there is information on it, and you have a clear definition of what Wikidata classes are sort of like ministries, then how difficult is it to add more sources? Well, right now we are working with a subclass of a list that was shared with me, and those I am writing scrapers for, and I'm doing that in the way where I pass these sources into a language model and have it kind of like create a schema to use to be able to extract information from this source. This is something I'm experimenting with, and this is something that is not in there at the moment yet, but this is coming. And I want this logic to be generalizable in the sense that I can pass in any sort of like index page or any sort of like detail page and get back structured information that can be evaluated. That's the answer there. Are arbitrary wiki-based statements currently testable? The techniques described seem fairly domain agnostic. Is there a technical requirement that the claim on the left being evaluated be provided in a structured format? I am afraid that I don't completely understand your question, but yes, these techniques are fairly domain agnostic. It is, again, the hard thing is defining the domain. Like, I think the hardest thing I'm doing here is defining what is part of the political data domain and how I map that onto the Wikidata domain. So it's a problem of definition. But these techniques are you can use them for anything, honestly. Any other questions? Maybe somebody wants to chip in? Do you think government... Oh, sorry. Jennifer, do you think government sources or third-party sources are better? This is an active thought that I had before. Like, do you give some weight to sources? I think it's probably a good idea to do so. And I think probably, like, if you have official government sources, it would make a lot of sense to give them a higher weight than any Wikipedia or whatever. Because there's quite often also a mismatch between Wikidata and Wikipedia, and then I have no idea which is the correct data. But when a government is publishing something, I can have like a bit of a higher confidence that that this data is correct. Still, the government also regularly publishes incorrect information, but that's yeah. At least I would say you could weigh it a bit more, a bit harder, a bit heavier. Mobile. I'm working on the mobile interface actually. It's I have a good idea on how to do it. It's just often very narrative. Yeah, it depends really on the government source. Like I've looked at a lot of lower governments also for Holland, where I'm originally from, and there they publish a ton of information, but none of it contains actual information. Like it's more like look how happy the local neighborhood is doing, you know, without any sort of like so it's also identifying pages that contain actual information on politicians is, I think, the hardest problem to automate. That is also with a set of curated links. In the future, I would love to have some sort of way where you can just drop in a link, but that we're not there yet. Out of curiosity, what sort of throughput are you seeing processing sources in this manner? Is the bottleneck to scaling up LLM inference source scraping, or just making sure that the quality is good enough to be useful for raters? The bottleneck right now is, I would say, the LLM API. Like we are using third-party inference providers, and they have bottleneck in the sense that they have a rate limit. So this is just bottleneck by how fast you can scrape the internet, which is extremely fast. So I think we would need like thousands of people before we run into any sort of like real issues there. I think like right now this should handle like quite a couple people. Would we go over that limit, we have to move some more money into the direction of some model inference provider. But other than that, it's nothing crazy there. Like what I can say now, what maybe is interesting is that for some politicians there is like lots of Wikipedia pages. Think of Barack Obama or something. He has like 100 and something Wikipedia pages out there. What we try to do is take the 3 most probable pages where information on him might occur. And right now I do that by mapping his like citizenship, if I have it, to spoken languages, because that's also a property in Wikidata. And based on those, I look at the spoken languages in those countries. I look which ones are like most represented there, which ones are the biggest, and I take those languages. Oh yeah, that's also nice to say, like the whole development of this tool is all in the open, so you can check the open sanctions discuss. where we develop this thing in the open, and there you can also give us feedback, give us directions, questions. Feel free to contribute whatever. All the code is on GitHub. Also, all the issues are on GitHub. Please test out this tool. Please play with it. If you run into anything, please let us know.
Yeah, if there's anyone that really finds that this is something that they want to put a little bit of time in and test it out and give us feedback, I don't know if Friedrich wants me to approve this or not, but too bad. I will be happy to send you a little bit of swag from Open Sanctions just as a thank you. So we would really love people to test this out and just give us a little bit more feedback from the community, since you guys really probably see some blind spots that we're missing.
Are you focusing on new data only, or also verifying and adding new sources to what Wikidata already has? For now, I'm focusing on new data only, but this is actually a super nice idea that you have there, Lydia. I think it would make a lot of sense to also add to existing data. If we find, for example, government portals that contain information that is already there, I think we should totally add that as a source. And I'm actually going to write that up right now. Nah, we have no time frame specified. So it's something where we don't know the time. We still have the position. It's just this one little data point, because these time frames, this is a qualifier of the original like has position statement. Yeah, maybe we can take in all the references that end in not govs. That might be a good idea. Anything else that I can say? Yeah, also all this discarding and stuff, it's all soft delete. So in the background, we never really delete data. Also, when we discard something from Wikidata, that's all what's it called? Deprecation. So it's quite a friendly sort of discard strategy. Like something I'd love to do is take this little like start page and have it ask you like, hey, what ministry, what language, what are you interested in today? And have also a little leaderboard, because we are keeping all these like little data points on what everybody clicked, so we can show a beautiful little leaderboard of were your edits actually still in Wikidata like 3 months later, you know, like did you actually contribute? There are different opinions in the community. The tension between generic, quote unquote, and specific positions. I, for example, don't like to add generic statements like mayor of a place in Belgium, whereas others think it's too much data to add a position or for each organization. This is not really resolved yet, as far as I know. Well, my 2 cents is please keep things specific. Please keep things specific, because with your like generalizations, there is so many generalizations you can make about the mayor of Brussels. Like, yes, it's a place in Belgium, it's a place in Europe, it's a place, you know, everywhere. And mayor might also be, you can also generalize mayor. Why do you say a specific measure? Also using these models, these embedding models to search for semantically similar information, you're kind of making that very hard if you have a lot of generalized knowledge in there. So yeah, member of the Senate. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I don't have all the answers, but I would say mayor of a place in Belgium, I personally don't really like. To me, it feels like polluting your data set, honestly. But I'm not a data person necessarily, so I don't know what the best approach is. Let's see, did we get everything here?
Okay.
Generating descriptions from properties is clever.
This thing.
Yeah. The ordinal until by the first. Yeah, we can have a discussion about whether we should generalize statements on data here. If anybody has to add something smart on that, I would love to hear it also. I would say if there's anything you take from this is like come help us, come click these buttons, make the system smarter, because everybody that anybody does will help us train these models in the direction of doing more of this better and more automatic. And yeah, I'm looking forward to pushing in arbitrary government pages. That's going to be the goal.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Johan. Thank you, Anna, for the wonderful session. It has been very engaging and also very insightful for everyone. Testing. Testing. Can you hear me? No, but
yeah, thank you for having us, and see you next time.